She played well. Maybe there was one era, the backhand, but after that she played the better tennis. And
in an interview for the United Cup, Coco Gauff commends Alexa. Fans were taken aback. The tennis community was shocked when Coco Gauff praised Alexa. Jaws fell as soon as these words appeared in the headlines. A public recognition of an emerging talent by a celebrity. It was more than simply compliments. It was a declaration. Online, fans reacted, some in shock, others in excitement. Questions flew. Why right now? Eala, why? What does this signify for tennis for women? All of a sudden, expectations, admiration, and quiet competitiveness came together in one startling headline. The journey of Alexa Aya was never intended to be silent. She had already begun to make headlines, from her early junior titles to her quick ascent in the WTA. Few people could equal her guts, enthusiasm, and bravery. She was trained far from tennis powerhouses and was born in the Philippines. Each game made a message. Every victory had an impact on the tennis community. The United Cup was intended to be an additional competition and series of games. However, it meant more to Alexa. It was her opportunity to demonstrate that she belonged on the global scene as a player who could disrupt the top as well as a potential talent. Southeast Asian fans sang her name and joyfully waved flags as they followed her every step. They were rallying behind a symbol of possibility rather than merely a player. Superstar Coco Gauff, on the other hand, handled the burden of expectation in a different way. She was experienced, self-assured, and used to being scrutinized. Every word she said held weight, and her presence dominated headlines. Few budding stars have ever received direct recognition from someone like Coco, and even fewer have had it made public. Alexa's journey was characterized by perseverance, hard effort, and a quiet will to overcome challenges. She had no desire to become famous. Her goal was to gain respect. She had already established herself as a player to watch by the time the United Cup arrived. However, no one could have predicted what would happen in the press room when she ran into Coco Gauff's. A moment that would startle spectators all over the world and pave the way for one of the most talked about exchanges in the history of women's tennis. What happens if the person you've always admired acknowledges you in a way that completely alters your life? How can a player's season be defined by a simple praise that starts a firestorm? It was a typical press conference. Players discussed their aims, practices, and games. The cameras clicked. Journalists jotted down notes. Everything appeared to be standard. Coco then said something. She remarked nonchalantly, "I've been watching Alexa this season," with a sincere yet purposeful smile. "She's a killer on the court, to be honest. She is fearless and has a lot of fire. She's clearly making progress." There was a brief silence in the room. Not many journalists knew how to respond. Following the real-time updates, fans went crazy on the internet. Social media was rocked by shockwaves. One of the media-savvy and cautious celebrities in athletics, Coco Gauff, had dubbed a rising rival a killer. The acknowledgement was praised by some. Others discussed time and intent in whispers. Was this compliment entirely sincere? Or did it serve as a subliminal warning to other players as well? Could Coco be establishing the story, informing everyone that Alexa was now being considered by the elite? Alexa found the words in the interview clips to be bizarre. It may be empowering to receive admiration from someone she held in high regard, but there was also pressure. This kind of commendation was more than just a nod. It was a spotlight. From now on, every game will be attentively observed. Every error was amplified. On the internet, fans went crazy. Hashtags became popular. Memes emerged in a matter of hours. It wasn't simply Coco complimenting Alexa that was shocking. It was the timing, the intensity of her expression, and the surety in her tone. Nobody anticipated it. However, beneath the joy, tension simmered because public adulation can turn into expectations, and expectations can turn into pressure. Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok were a flurry of activity in a matter of minutes. Coco's motives were contested by fans worldwide. Some exclaimed, "Alexa deserves recognition at last." Is Coco trying to mess with other players' heads? Some asked in jest. Some said it was a calculated action meant to warn the world, watch out for this rising star. Memes depicted Alexa as a superhero who was unexpectedly discovered by her idol. Fans weren't the only ones going crazy, as pundits conjectured about the implications for upcoming competitions. Tennis analysts joined in on the discussion. The gesture was hailed by some as a turning point in the veterans' recognition of untapped talent. Others cautioned that it might draw unnecessary attention to Alexa. Whispers circulated even within the dressing rooms. Young athletes were conversing. Veterans were watching. Alexa's standing abruptly changed from being up and coming to becoming a player to watch. She was suddenly viewed differently by the entire tennis community. Tension persisted, though. When a superstar gives you praise, it comes with expectations as well as affirmation. Could Alexa stay focused? Could she manage the limelight? Or would her confidence and rhythm be threatened by the sudden fame? The story developed. Fans stuck between a proven champion and a rising talent. Each press clip was examined. Every social media post was carefully examined. The scene had become dramatic, and it was not going away very soon. Can a teenage celebrity withstand the pressure without losing herself when admiration turns into a public spectacle? Despite its strength, the praise had unanticipated repercussions. Rivals conjectured. Some players were uneasy, questioning why Alexa had gained such widespread attention so rapidly. Whether Coco had unintentionally drawn a bullseye on Alexa's back was a topic of discussion among analysts. Alexa made an effort to stay grounded. In interviews conducted after the game, she gave humble answers. I appreciate the help, but I just concentrate on my game. However, each statement was examined. Every interview made headlines. Commentary on social media became unrelenting. The following tournaments had an increase in pressure. Her opponents were more aggressive in their play. Every game was supposed to feature pyrotechnics. She was reminded to maintain focus by teammates and coaches. However, the dynamic had already changed. Alexa was no longer merely amusing herself. Suddenly, everyone in the tennis world was watching her every move as she played. In the meantime, commentary kept bringing up Coco's appreciation. Whispers now accompanied every game Alexa played. Would she live up to the moniker, Killer? Was this commendation motivating or burdensome? There was some tension in the controversy, but it wasn't wholly negative. Fans adored the way that pressure, rivalry, anticipation, and admiration were now entwined. Can adulation be both a boon and a curse when it turns into a public spectacle? The story is eventually addressed by both players. I meant every word, Coco explained in a follow-up interview. Alexa possesses heart, fire, and focus. I wanted to recognize that she will play a significant role in the sport. In response, Alexa conveyed her appreciation. Hearing it from someone I admire is amazing. It inspires me, but I don't lose sight of my objectives. Mutual respect took the place of the tension, which somewhat subsided. The topic of discussion shifted from controversy to the evolving nature of women's tennis. Fans are paying close attention to every contact, new stars are emerging, and great players are recognizing them. The narrative also brought attention to a more significant issue, the influence of recognition in athletics. A player's season can be inspired, challenged, and altered by a single compliment. Could women's tennis experience a new wave of respect, rivalry, or both as a result of this interaction? Ultimately, the United Cup accolades turned into a season-defining story. Alexa had gone too far. She was no longer only a budding star. She was a well-known power. Coco Gauff's remarks went beyond simple compliments. They served as a combination of inspiration, challenge, and acknowledgement. The question of whether this moment inspired or put pressure on fans is still up for debate. Analysts continue to keep a careful eye on their relations. One thing is certain, though, women's tennis has changed. Young athletes were observing. Media narratives changed throughout time. And the sport was about to embark on a brand new tale of admiration, surprise, and drama. There is now a delicate balance between rivalries, respect, and acknowledgement. The focal point of it is Alexa Aya, changing the definition of success in the contemporary period. Was this praise merely a compliment or the beginning of something much more significant? Coco Gauff's one compliment went beyond just making headlines. It altered the perception of Alexa among tennis players, fans, and the general public. What had begun as praise suddenly turned into a spark of drama, admiration, and expectancy. Alexa's success isn't solely due to her on-court abilities. It's about shattering stereotypes, gaining respect, and carrying the aspirations of a whole generation. This incident serves as a reminder that in athletics, a word can have the same significance as a point, a game, or even a trophy. Legends are created or difficulties worsen when admiration and pressure collide. What are your thoughts? Was Coco's praise really a compliment, or did it signal the start of a new rivalry, a new dynamic, and a turning point in the history of women's tennis? Leave a comment below with your comments. Tell us about your favorite part of the story, and don't forget to subscribe for more in-depth tennis drama rivalries and unexpected moments that you won't find anywhere else.